Politics lends itself to parody all too easily sometimes, but it's a rare day, or should we say night, when an elected official ends up on Saturday Night Live in a way they can actually embrace. That was the case for Congresswoman Annie Kuster recently, and she joins us this morning. Hey, Congresswoman, how you doing?
Great to be with you, Adam. Thank you.
So let's go back to the State of the Union.
Sure.
Yourself and a number of other women in the Democratic caucus decide to wear suffragette white. You end up with this kind of unexpected or perhaps unintentional shout-out from President Trump, and then it's kind of mayhem unfolds in a little way, a big celebration. What happened?
So we all planned to wear white. We wanted to celebrate. It's been 100 years since women earned the vote, and we now have 102 women in Congress. So we wanted it to pop on screen, that people would be aware of it and thinking about the diversity and having that many women in Congress. And we have to plan it and all sit together so that it comes out that way. We did invite our Republican colleagues to join us. Sadly, they didn't, but there aren't very many women on the Republican side now. And so what we ended up doing was we were just trying to make that statement, but the president kind of walked right into it with his speech. He used this expression, 58% of the new jobs had gone to women. And suddenly we looked around and realized with 40 new women on the Democratic caucus, those new jobs came from Republican men. So we were just having a little celebration on that. And then he said, wait, you weren't supposed to clap then, keep standing. And then he walked into a line, and I don't know if he knew or his staff knew, but he walked into a line claiming credit for all these new women in Congress. There are 40 new Democratic women and only 1 new Republican woman. So we were sort of saying, you're not going to own this. We get to celebrate this. And that's what the celebration was.
When did you hear that this ended up on Saturday Night Live?
Oh, I was so surprised. I did not see it live. I think I would have been flabbergasted. I got a slew of text messages when I woke up early to go skiing on Sunday morning.
Yeah. You're right there next to Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who's become this kind of, rallying point for a lot of Democrats. It's interesting because you guys are not politically aligned entirely, right? I've seen you a lot with her, but it's safe to say she represents a ring with the Democratic Party that you're not there 100%, I would say.
Well, and it's true we have a different perspective. I think mostly we have a different district. So she comes from a deep blue district. She was elected in a primarily Democratic district. My district's very different than that. We have just 28% Democrats, we have 28% Republicans, and 44% undeclared independent. And what I represent is I want jobs in the economy and grow the economy, give everybody opportunity. I am very progressive on, I'm very pro-choice, equality, those kinds of issues, social issues, but I think I'm probably more oriented toward pocketbook issues. And but we've come to know each other, and look, we have a big caucus with a lot of big ideas, and she has a new way of communicating with people, literally 3 million people at the drop of a hat on Twitter. I think we can both learn from each other. I can help her to understand the institution and how to make change over time when we have a Republican Senate, Republican president. How are we going to get these things done? And I have a lot to learn from her on how you communicate with 3 million people at the drop of a hat.
Democrats in the House already moving forward with ways to try to block the president's emergency declaration on the border wall. In particular, you and the rest of the delegation are very concerned about the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. What's the intersection here between the funds for the military, the wall, and the shipyard?
Sure. So just to step back a little bit to the balance of powers, we have a process under the Constitution that we followed, which is Congress authorizes funding, appropriates funding. Sadly, we had a 35-day government shutdown, but we got to the point where Republicans and Democrats came together to pass a budget, and it didn't have the wall as President Trump has proposed it. It was supported by a large number of Republicans, all of the Democrats, and it went to him and he signed it into law. Now he's trying to circumvent the will of Congress through this emergency declaration, and I say emergency in quotes because it's a self-made emergency. He has created that emergency at the border. Look, let's use New Hampshire for an example. We have a terrible opioid epidemic. 90% of the drugs are coming through the ports of entry. We should be focused on 21st century border technology, X-rays and the like, for every vehicle that comes through there to stop the flow of drugs. But his emergency declaration and proposal to build a 2,000-mile wall that the experts say we don't need is taking money from drug interdiction at the border and from projects like Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. This is a defense appropriation that has to do with a new submarine system. It's great for jobs and the economy here. It'll keep America safe. And the president's trying to rip those funds out of the budget and spend it in a way that has not been authorized by Congress. I think this will be two steps. One is we're introducing legislation this week to stop the president from taking that approach. And number two, 16 states have filed a lawsuit to stop this unconstitutional approach that he's taking. So it's a very important moment for our country and our Constitution.
You've been on a hospital listening tour, and I'm interested to get your perspective here. Obviously, the delivery side of the healthcare system needs help, and the patients need help. How do you balance, obviously, people still needing help with insurance and finding access to care, while the hospitals are out there too? Who's the priority?
Well, look, the customer and the consumer is always my priority, but we want to have a robust healthcare delivery system. That's why I'm going around to all of the hospitals and healthcare providers around my district to talk with them on a number of issues, opioids being at the top of the list. I want to understand, we created this bipartisan task force that I've been involved with on opioids now for the last 5 years. We passed legislation. We got $30 million in funds coming to New Hampshire from the federal government. I want to understand this hub and spoke model that the governor has recommended. So I'm visiting the hospitals to find out what's happening in their communities and how we're going to tackle access to treatment as well as education and prevention. At the same time, I want to talk with them about the proposals that are coming to Congress about expanding access and bringing down healthcare costs. You've heard a lot about expanding Medicare as a public option on the exchange. I've signed on to a bill for people age 50 and older to be able to buy into that, to try to bring down their premiums. Medicaid is another option that would include families. So we've got a lot of legislation coming. I've got a brand new title now. I'm working on the House Energy and Commerce Committee. We'll take up all of these healthcare bills, as well as bringing down the cost of prescription medication. And then we're also going to be taking up the climate and energy bills.
Let's get to the First in the Nation primary contest a little bit. You've been very busy with these candidates coming in, introducing them around Concord and other locations. What's your perspective in terms of what the party needs? Democrats are so excited, and certainly you were involved in this moment in the white there of this women's empowerment. Doesn't it kind of fit the mood right now of the Democratic Party to nominate a woman for president?
Well, I certainly would be very excited, and it's thrilling for me. My mother was a state senator. She put a lot of time and energy into encouraging women to run for office, and to be here in this moment with 102 women in the House, 20+ women in the Senate, and to have 5 women running in viable campaigns for president is very exciting. But look, there are lots of different kinds of candidates. I'm not endorsing any of them at this point. I have an expression that the Shakers use. I want to make everyone feel kindly welcome here in New Hampshire. So I've had a chance to visit with Cory Booker, who's very impressive, Kirsten Gillibrand, Kamala Harris, Sherrod Brown, others. My recommendation is for everyone in New Hampshire to get involved. My first presidential primary campaign, I was 16 years old. I knocked on doors all through Concord. That's how I got started in this, and everybody is welcome to participate. It's an awesome responsibility to pick the next president of the United States. I think we need a new president, and I'm very excited to be a part of it.
Safe to say you will be endorsing, though, at some point?
I expect I will as we get down the line. I just know myself, I'm going to be too excited about somebody to hold back, but for right now, I'm very excited about all of them. They're super compassionate, empathetic, thoughtful, very talented leaders, and I think that's what our country needs right now.
All right, Congresswoman Annie Kuster, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, Adam. Great to be with you.